Greetings and welcome back, everyone, to Into the Nexus, the podcast all about Heroes of the Storm. I'm Garrett Weinzierl, joined as always by Kyle Fergusson. I don't know why I felt like singing your name. Hi, how you doing, man?
I feel energized. Thank you for that.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. You know how it is, man. We do the show. It's like basically the end of our week. I don't know about you, but I usually get a lot of freelance done on Friday, so it's not really. But in terms of me living publicly on the internet, this is the end. This is the end of my performance for the week.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. People listen to this on Fridays, and or they get to it on Monday, and then they have some like Friday energy to carry them. So either way,
yeah,
I think it works out perfect.
Sometimes you just gotta, energize yourself. Sometimes you have to sing your friend's name to just get in the mood to talk about Heroes of the Storm.
Yeah,
which is a little quiet this week. So we've prepared something a little different, a little special for you all. Which we'll get to later. Kyle, you and I are going to do dueling tier lists.
Dueling tier lists, yes.
Dueling tier lists. Yes, you said, sir, make your own tier list. I'll make mine, and then we'll ask each other to defend our insane decisions. Which is what we're going to do when we get to the strategy segment of today's show. But in the meantime, you and I had a fairly unique experience this week. I was whisked away to the land of coordinated team play with one Kyle Fergusson on Team Careless Badgers.
Yeah, our solo lane was out for the night, our practice night. So I shot you that text, and you were available, and that was awesome. Because you got to play a little Sonya and Rexar for us.
Yeah, Orphea, that didn't work out too well, but that comp we were playing against was just an oof. It was oof-tastic.
Yes. Yeah, actually, that kind of reminds me of something I've had to learn this week, which is that losses aren't so bad because you're playing a best of three sometimes in coordinated play. Storm League has really taught me that a loss is a loss, and you suck, and your points are gone. You must win to make up for it. But sometimes you just lose. And in a best of three, you learn things about the enemy team and you move forward.
Yeah, man. I mean, obviously we were practicing in Storm League. So yeah. A loss was a loss and we were losing points. But I feel like had I been doing it, had like that Orphea game specifically, we lost more than that. That wasn't our only loss, but that was the one that was like, oh, that stung. It didn't really stick with me though. We were on to the next game. And I got my head back in it. If you go back and watch the VOD, I probably got quieter because I was back in. I just got my ass handed to me. I need to pull my weight here. But like overall, like I was just like, all right, doesn't matter. Next one. Our record matters, not our individual games. Let's go.
Well, we went 4-2 over the course of the night, so we did a grand job.
Yeah, dude. I legitimately had a ton of fun. It was really cool hanging with you guys, and it's something because I get in 5 stacks sometimes, but not all that often, and definitely not into one with like such rigidly structured roles for each member of the team, because you all have your support player, you'll have your tank player, and so on and so forth. So it was really, in a way, relaxing to know that I just got to solo lane every game. That was one less thing I needed to be concerned about. I needed to keep in the back of my mind was, well, crap, what if someone else wants a solo lane? That was, and it's so relieving to have that removed from your mindset going into a draft.
What'd you think of the overall like comms? And because you said you've played in 5 stacks, and we've all done patron nights and certainly gotten together with friends, but that was a more crafted experience, at least over the course of the last 2 months. We've been practicing those comms.
Yeah, I thought they were solid, man. Although I gotta say, the only thing that really sticks out to me is one point when you called for a back and I said no and instantly murdered somebody. Because that's the only thing that sticks in my mind. I was like, that was just the most fun interplay of us as friends.
Yeah.
Which was only entertaining because of the context that it was taking place in, which was, Garrett, you want to come be our Phil? And all of the subtext that comes with that is Kyle's a shot caller. You're going to do your best to listen to him and be a team player. But also, we're friends, and I'm going to tell you no and murder someone.
No, I do not want to be the end all be all. It's rough out there, man. Every mistake is your mistake as not only the shot caller, but the draft leader. And sometimes you put people on things that you don't know they can play or they haven't shown you before. And sometimes just the pick doesn't work out. So there's debates and whatnot. Everyone's super kind on the team, but like our Heroes Lounge match this week actually got casted by Bahamut. So it was interesting on top of that because I got to see myself outside of myself talked about by a caster, but we ran Tassadar Kel'Thuzad, which of course Twitch chat was there and it was double mage. So it was the greatest sin on the planet.
Yeah. You never. There's no universe where a double mage comp has ever won a game of Heroes of the Storm. This is a known fact, Kyle. This is.
I know.
It's just you can't fight it.
And it was worth the experiment because Coffee plays such an amazing Kel'Thuzad. I wanted to see if we could pull it off. It was versus Johanna and Blaze. And before I move on, do you want to enjoy the Kel'Thuzad moment? Because he's rocking on that. He's
disgusting. I felt guilty by association. Like I felt the need to apologize to the victims of Coffee's Kel'Thuzad.
It's definitely one of those where we're going to talk about our tier list later on, and I'm going to put certain heroes in certain spots, and I'm going to be like, I know, this isn't a personal insult or slight to anybody. There are some amazing players out there, and he can make some magic work.
Oh, I have some. Mine is so excruciatingly personal and petty in places.
That's what we're here to do. Share our personal experience. Yeah. They're going to be different than everybody else's. These are our tier lists coming up. But what we ended up fighting in that game was fascinating. It was a Johanna main, no less, with a Blaze main. And I'm like, then they have a Jaina and a Deckard. And I'm like, oh, look at this. Like, big body, front line, slow, unmaneuvering back line. Kel'Thuzad's going to hook it up. They go for the condemn. Then Blaze would scream in, hit the stun. But that wasn't the destructive part. The destructive part was Ancient Blessings on Deckard. So this is that level 13 talent that everyone thinks of with like Tracer back in the day. Activate Fortitude of the Faithful, empower nearby allied hero basic attacks for 8 seconds, causing them to deal damage in an area and heal for 90 for each hero hit. That's the level 1 values. But he would pop that, and Blaze, with his new level 1 auto attack speed, popping that, which I believe stacks on top of the passive auto attack speed that he gets as long as he's above 80% health, just coned us over and over with this AoE, which was exploding on top of it because of Ancient Blessings. Then the shield comes from Johanna, and there's just no chance. And the second they hit 13 on the enemy side, just over and over and over dead, we lost with a 4-level deficit.
Yeah, man, it was a excruciatingly rough game.
And my Storm League brain is like, that's the worst. I messed up the draft. I am a horrible human being. I've lost us points. We'll have to. Oh wait, no. This is a best of 3. So let me ban the Johanna main. We can mess around picking the Deckard for ourselves, and we'll just move on. And it never happened again.
Yes, we all. Like our night. Like we never got Abathur again. Because we were like, right, ABA is still in effect. Always ban Abathur. Like, it's such a risk because you don't know, right? Because they are out there. It's not the same kind of risk as like leaving up like a Lost Vikings. Like, yeah, good Lost Vikings players, they're scary, but there's so few of them. There's so few of them that it's really not worth the ban. But Abathur, right on that cusp. There's enough of them to make you think for a second.
Yeah, Zeratools as well can be in that part. The Zeratul thing is getting really interesting. He's not as common as he was. So what I'm seeing out of Zeratools is a lot less skilled play in terms of like hitting your singularity spike. Lots of missed singularity spikes. But they don't care because they want a level 20 Might of the Nerazemu, which is so different than the shadow mending style I'm used to, which is very much about hitting those singularity spikes and hitting everything on repeat. These new, I'm just going to get to 20 Zeratul are wild. They play like Nazebos, basically.
They're like, are you saying the new younger generation of Zeratuls are like the auto-tune rappers compared to like the Eminems and Dre's of the world? We're just like, I'll just slap some auto-tune on it and make it sound good.
I don't want to critique music. I'm not very good at it. I'm horrible at names. But you bring up Eminem, and that's just like, what are we talking about? Like math savants versus like kindergartners, like a kindergartner. I'm impressed.
No,
you spelled flower. Like, that is amazing. You cheat.
You misunderstand my analogy. My analogy was going to end with, we can rip on them, but it doesn't matter because it is effective.
Okay.
You can judge it all you want. It doesn't matter because it gets results.
So you're saying that even though you auto-tuned,
you're still a multi-millionaire with platinum records. And if you are a Zeratul out there going, oh, you're missing your singularity spike, you're not a real Zeratul, but they're bringing home the wins, your opinion's irrelevant. They're getting the job done regardless.
Jungle Book live action should have had real animals, but my mom still texted me and told me they looked like real animals and it made a lot of money, so who cares?
Can you tell I've been consuming some modern rap from mainstream artists that I never would have thought I would have liked otherwise?
It got out of it kind of evolved again. It's in a nice spot. I like it.
Yeah. It's fun. It's fun to enjoy things you didn't think you were going to enjoy. Anyway, that was my analogy for Zeratul.
Music's fun. It's a good exploration. But I don't know, because my Spotify just runs and I go interesting, and I don't hit like or anything, and then I play more Sabaton on the other side.
Sabaton?
Yeah.
Is that a game?
No. It's a band. I don't know. I've never said it aloud too much, so maybe I said it wrong.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. I'm unfamiliar.
I don't know. They're like European or something.
At first, I thought you were going to say. I thought you were saying "Sabotage" by the Beastie Boys, and I was like, it's a good song, Kyle, but you listen to it a lot. That's one song.
No. This is like power metal.
Okay.
They pick random historical figures from World War I and make songs about them. It's fantastic.
Kyle's musical suggestion of the day. We call it Kyle's Pick. You made me think of something that has been buzzing around my brain. I've been meaning to bring it up on the show, which is things you think should be banned, but you wish you didn't have to. And for me right now, it is very strictly Abathur and Zeratul. I think they need to be banned, but I really wish they didn't need to be.
Interesting. I mean, certainly we don't have room for it because we're kind of messing with Cassia still, Tassadar.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I talked about that bubble, like Abathur is. There's a line somewhere, right? There's a line somewhere that I think a lot of us can agree on, where we like how we consider a band to be acceptable. And there's a lot of factors that go in. It's like the power level of the hero, regardless of composition, but also the popularity of said hero. How likely do you think there is a player on the opposing team that can actually even pilot said hero? And I think Abathur is just barely over the popularity line. And I think the same for Zeratul. Not everyone plays Zeratul, but the people that do tend to be effective. And so those are the two that's where I guess I start to get that bummer feeling of I wish we didn't need to consider Zeratul and Abathur bands, but I think we do.
Well, there's a couple of thoughts floating in my head right now. First, there's kind of this weird Imperious thing going on right now. And I feel like it relates well to your Zeratul topic, because they're a lot like Nazebo as well.
Dude, Imperious is a huge puzzle piece for me right now. I can't quite crack it. I'm not doing well against Imperious.
But that's the thing. You sometimes do, and you don't notice it because he sucks in certain situations.
Yeah, you're right.
It's like you get at the end of the game and you're like, wait, what happened to the enemy team? Oh, Nazebo didn't finish his stacks. What was he doing in the game? Soaking? How did he not finish stacks? What the heck? You forget that it was a 13-minute game. It never got to 20 in the first place. And you just ignored the Nazebo because he was double soaking or something, and it didn't matter because they were behind the whole time because the poor man was losing.
Yeah.
That's how Imperious goes. You win against him, You just didn't notice him because he trundles around and he's like an armor man, and like nothing really about him is very flashy or interesting when he's being countered correctly. When he is being face melted every time he thinks about celestial charging or gets in a position that he might do it, you don't even know he's there. And ETC might be getting some praise for that, and everyone's like, good job countering ETC, nice job. But you didn't care about Imperius that game. But you know he's there when he's landing that stuff over and over again, and it seems oppressive, and it makes you go, oh my God, can you please do something about Flash of Anger? This is too much.
Yeah. Oh, apparently this season, flat 50% win rate against Imperius. I don't know why the losses stick out so much in my mind.
That's what we're talking about. Like, exactly. Yeah. This is the bad movie scenario, right? Like,
yeah, I'm looking it up in the background, and but it's something that hits me that like I feel like I don't understand what to do though. Like sometimes the Imperius is effective, sometimes the Imperius isn't, and I feel conscious of the fact that I am uninformed about that, about dealing with that hero.
I mean, you are aware of what Flash of Anger does at 7, right?
No.
Okay, that's his power spike. So consuming a mark from Celestial Charge, just the Q part, and whenever he consumes a mark, he's doing stuff. He's, getting damage, healing, stuff like that. Each mark, the Q, W, E, each have their own mark on a target. So when Flash of Anger comes online, consuming a Celestial Charge deals damage to the target and nearby enemies and grants Imperius 300-point shield for 4 seconds.
Okay.
So when he spears 3 people together and then auto attacks one of them, they're going off like mini living bombs. And so what Imperius does is he goes, spear 3 people, 1 for you, Mr. Number 1, 1 for you, Mr. Number 2, 1 for you, Mr. Number 3. And each one of those causes a mini explosion and refreshes that 300-point shield, and that's the level 1 value.
Okay, so burst survivability plus damage.
Right, so he's wrecking a team dramatically and seems invincible behind it because no matter what you're doing to him at that moment, the shield is always repopulating itself.
Gotcha. On top of the fact that you are now speared and unable to do anything.
Exactly. Then you get into that's, of course, that's the setup. Then Tyrande, ETC, whoever else is available follows up and it gets real messy. But come level 16, you can get 40% attack speed for 5 seconds for each hero stunned by Celestial Charge. So that 1, 2, 3 business goes really, really fast with 40% attack speed per hero you hit. And then at level 20, you can stack on, you don't remove your marks anymore. So you're just going boom, 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 and the same person over and over again. And it's exploding.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Gotcha. So, yeah. And then my brain wanders over to, well, should there be counterplay there? Because I do feel like I don't get speared that often, like a cross from an opposing Imperius, but it doesn't matter because when the spear does go off, I'm just not that effective against him because of those resetting shields post 7.
Right. So Imperius is not unstoppable during his shield charge. So that's where the counterplay comes in. And that's why I brought up ETC first. So the face melt is the perfect counter because it's so big come level 4 that you're going to get him in whatever position he might even think about it. I really don't like Mal'Ganis into that because you're going to have to do multiple swipes. You're never going to catch it right on time. You're going to try to sleep in his direction, but you're not unstoppable either, so he gets you. There is not a lot of answers to it. And of course, and here's the big answer, it doesn't matter what you counterplay with, we all need to spread out. And that is not easy. It's
not on a game with objectives. This game, most Battlegrounds are designed in some way to funnel you to an area by design. So unless you're a Chromie or a Hammer, it's going to happen eventually.
Yeah. Yeah, I think all the boops are great. Lucio's, Rainer's, and that's one of the other big thoughts I think is happening right now in our community is that things are being critiqued based on the easiest hero to play. And that's not a bad thing. That is very natural to happen every time the meta settles a little bit. And I feel like we are in a nice little settled meta. People are praising the tank, various picks. Things are feeling pretty healthy. There's lots of options. But now we're looking at things like Zul'jin and saying, Zul'jin, aren't you just a really hard Rainer with a high amount of risk that might be better if you got super duper stacked, but you could just be Rainer? And we all go, oh yeah. That's true. And Raynor has a pushback and a self-heal that allows him to move while he's doing it, and it activates, and if he takes damage, it doesn't stop. Like, oh my god, Zul'jin's hard Raynor. Why would I do this to myself? Because fun.
Yeah.
Because Zul'jin, because the drums go boop, 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 and you go, all right.
Yeah. Well, rad. So as the moral of this entire story, just don't let the team get both ETC and Imperius. Is that the moral of this story?
Yeah, that's all right. Yeah, try to keep ETC is, I feel like, the top tier tank right now, just because he does counter other tanks and bruisers, but he's got a lot of skins, and I know it's tough. I'm playing a lot of ETC right now because in coordinated play, it is fun. It is perfectly acceptable to be a stun bot. He does great damage too, but you know what I mean? Like, solo queue ETC is such a weird thing.
Oh yeah, there was I can't remember exactly when, but there was one particular moment on one of the games where I saw you kind of slide out of frame to go finish someone off, and I just knew you had him. I'm like, yeah, I'm so glad Kyle's on ETC. So if there's another tank, that guy would get away. But ETC's damage output is gonna complete that. I didn't even watch. I just moved on with my life, and I heard the death chime happen. I'm like, ETC doing what he does.
He does do what he do, but I think we can get some Widowmaker treatment in there. Oh? I think it's capable and possible for us to take that guitar, even though it's cool because it's a gun too in the Space Marine suit. Like, that's the one I use. I'm trying to escape this ETC theme. We can give him a totem. We can make it some drums. Like, let's get that Tauren.
I love how you seamlessly go from, this is my serious, this is how I like to build them, this is how I like to play them, here's actionable information I can give you, dear players out there, into, it is very important that I get the skin I want for this fantasy I do not like.
Yes, I need it.
Never change, Kyle. Never change.
You don't have to rename the talents. It's fine. You can call them prog rock and everything else under the sun. Guitar hero. I don't care. Pinball wizard. Just give me that. And that I'm able. Give me that voice.
Yeah.
Give me that voice.
A big traditional like Tauren chieftain would be awesome.
Yeah. I mean, Tauren chieftain is its own thing, but yeah.
Well, ETC is the elite Tauren chieftain.
That's so true. He's got a lot of skins, though. I highly doubt it's going to go. In chat's asking mainly AA. AA is my favorite ETC build. I'll do other things. But AA is just a blast. And Hammer-On gets those kills Garrett just talked about on that Artanis who didn't go anywhere with they right. It still ain't right, man.
That you can kill a Artanis?
No, that something about that blade dash still to this day. He skates on his feet sideways. He goes back to his location. It's just a weird ability. Remember, and it didn't come with swap available during it. That was a BlizzCon reveal after Artanis' release. So
yeah,
I still don't really know. There was a long road there. I want to talk to like Kyle Dates or something. Like, I want to know how. Maybe that was like Ken Eric. Maybe we're going way back in time. But I want to know how Blade Dash became the Healy Wheelies version of Protoss Engages.
I don't know. I mean, is your issue more with the animation than the functionality?
Yeah, I think it does a good job doing what it does.
Okay, then I think that's a question for like Keenan Brew, even though I'm not sure if Keenan Brew was the one or not to work on that.
Yeah.
But it's an interesting thought. Yeah, I've never really thought about it much, but now that you're mentioning it, I'm like, yeah, it does look a little weird. But it's also it's just what Artanis looks like.
It's what he's done for so long, and it is terrifying because there's a swap coming on, so we react to it. It's functional.
Yeah.
But I can't think of another ability in the game that makes my brain go, now what now? What just happened?
Did we ever talk about the fact that Ken Eric went to second dinner?
Wait, I didn't know that.
Yeah, Ken Eric went to second dinner.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, over there with the old Team 5 Hearthstone dudes.
Huh.
Dudettes.
Huh. I don't think I ever got to interact with him, sadly. And he did a lot of like interviews and stuff.
Sadly, the one I think Ken Eric was our very first Heroes interview a long time ago.
Was he?
Yeah, I'm fairly certain that is the case.
Oh,
I'm gonna Google us right now, Kyle.
Yeah,
I'm gonna type in
Google us.
Into the Nexus Kent Eric.
Because we had Keenabrew on, right? At some point
Episode
in the past?
56.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Episode 56.
That's right. It was like we had two of them together, and I remember I asked Keenabrew if they still make skin lamps to make characters.
I believe that was the 200th episode, if I remember correctly. Yes.
What?
Jade Martin and Andrew Keenabrew were on episode 200.
Oh, okay. Damn.
Google is very good at finding our stuff, by the way.
Yeah.
I'm impressed by
this.
Well
done, Google.
I'm
sorry, Ken Eric. What I remember the most is, sadly, it was the Kel'Thuzad working on video, the reveal video. They were like chronicling the creation of him.
I honestly, probably my strongest memory of Ken Eric was the 2.0 summit. Dinner was over, and we were slowly filing back down to the test pit to play more of 2.0 and Genji and Cassia. But I think it was Dreadnought and Dunk Train were talking to Ken Eric, but the way where we were all eating, like it was like an outside patio and there were like stairs and stuff. And like Dreadnought was up the highest and like Dunk Train was on this weird middle tier, and you and I were just like finishing our beers or whatever, and they were having this really in-depth design conversation with Ken Eric, and it looked like a freaking Renaissance painting.
Yeah, there's a lot of pointing.
The multi-levels and all the pointing and gesturing and very serious faces as they think about the design conversation that they're having. And I remember just like sitting there finishing my beer being like, this is the most intense video game discussion I have ever been a spectator to.
Oh yeah, Dreadnought was talking about how Lunara was broken and she was amazing and nobody knew it. But it was that Kel'Thuzad video. He like looks around the room and it's a beautiful like innocent moment. He's like, what if when you complete the Kel'Thuzad quest, that hood on the back pops up, and the whole room is like, no. What? Kel'Thuzad's hood pops up. What are you talking about, Ken Eric? Get out of here. And he's like, all right, it was just an idea. They got so passionate about whatever the hell that like back of the chair that hovers behind him is for Kel'Thuzad.
That's just what he looks like. You can't move. It's not allowed to move. That is a ridiculous suggestion. Kel'Thuzad does not pop his collar. Okay, Kyle?
Apparently, it was so shocking, I forgot we interviewed him. That's too funny.
Yeah, dude. What do you think this is? Kel'Thuzad's one of those dudes that wears like two polos and both of the collars are popped? No.
You think you've been doing this show for 6 years or something? What the hell's wrong with you?
Oh, that was fantastic. I hope everyone enjoyed that little that session of name dropping we just did. We'll pick them up later. Anyways, dude, before we move on, we want to thank those of you supporting us over on the Patreon. Do you like Into the Nexus? Do you like Kyle and I? Would you like to help us pay rent? Go over to patreon.com/ITN right now. You will support this podcast because we will know our bills are taken care of, and you'll get some sweet perks for your troubles. We have a wonderful Discord full of great nerds of Heroes of the Storm variety to hang out with. And you also get access to things like our patron game nights, which we're doing tonight. As a matter of fact, Kyle, we're doing a patron bonanza, as we like to call them, tonight. And so go check it out, patreon.com/ITN, if you want to support the show. And to our most recent patrons, Jason and Steven Campos, thank you very much for the support, you two. Also, Kyle, we have a producer slot open for the first time in a while.
We do.
So if you are interested in becoming a producer of Into the Nexus, patreon.com/ITN. Go check it out. And now, Kyle, let's get to this week's Heroes of the Storm news.
We're on, boys! Ha-ha! Let's liven up this place!
And it gets half a bumper because there really isn't much this week.
Oh, yeah. It's quiet, but that's exciting because
it is, yeah.
They did the AMAs, and we had, AZ Jackson on this show, and there were interviews across the web. There was clearly a big initiative to talk about the game, and now it's quiet. So we can assume everybody's back to work.
Yeah, I think that is the case. AZ Jackson did get an official title upgrade. Senior has been added to AZ Jackson's title.
Yeah, congratulations.
Which probably my favorite thing there was, I think it was Keenabrew responding to AZ, speaking of guests of Into the Nexus, going, I thought you were already senior. I think I kept accidentally referring to AZ Jackson as like senior game designer or something of that nature multiple times in the run up to his last appearance on the program. But congrats to AZ.
It's a great tale, of course, going from the QA department battling the designers of Heroes of the Storm to try to beat them with his own spreadsheets and all that, and becoming the guy who does the balance. So I'm really excited for him. And as I mentioned, the silence is exciting too. Really the only thing kind of being discussed right now is what's going to happen with May. And
yeah,
there is a issue. There's multiple angles of an issue going on with Avalanche. So right now, Avalanche isn't allowed in Heroes Lounge because it can push people off the map in certain areas. And also, my understanding is it can push you into the Hall of Storms, your area behind the core where you're invulnerable. And when you pop because you were in stasis, you still take that damage.
So May, when she pops, still takes the damage?
So you put people in the snowball and you're rolling through the Hall of Storms where you should be invincible. It still deals damage when you pop out.
Oh, gotcha. So you could, in theory, die in your own Hall of Storms.
Exactly.
If your health is low enough. Gotcha. I hadn't heard about this. That seems wrong.
It is. It's interesting because it's basically meaning that in coordinated play, at least for me, May isn't seeing any play because Ice Wall is so hard to work with. And Avalanche is so much easier and is a Mighty Gust and all these sort of counters that we need for Bloodlust and all sorts of comps of that nature. So why run May in the first place? And
how could you ever make that? How could you ever make that mistake?
I know. It got real. It's clearly my fault.
I always forget the I when I go to spell Maiev, and I can never find her on like Hots Logs or any other fan sites. It's always a pain.
I will again praise whoever did it. If I misspell Rhaegar with switching around the H and the G, Heroes knows in game. It is like, you want this guy, don't you? I'm like, thank you. Exactly.
Oh, God bless.
It's perfect. It's perfect. But Ryokai actually pointed out on Reddit this week that there appears to be a bit of RNG with the level 20 talent. And that would be the snowy name of...
I'm furiously Googling in the background. Cascade.
So Cascade, what happens is you throw out your Avalanche, which is reduced by 30 seconds, so it's a great talent to pick up anyway if you're avalanching. And in front of it, it's throwing snow blinds as it goes. So there's a little bit of RNG there as these snow blinds might hit you before you enter the snowball part of the avalanche. And as you roll to the end and it pops, a bunch of snow blinds go pa-pa, 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 pa-pa in the area around the end, which have a chance to be stacked on top of you. And the whole combo deals, just that one spell, deals about 1,800 damage. Sometimes. And sometimes it deals like 600 damage.
What have we been able to dial in on what's causing the variance?
The snowballs. Because the snowballs are randomly firing around the avalanche.
Oh, so their location is randomly assigned, and so if there's enough of them close enough to you, you will take more damage than if it just happened to decide to place them in a different order or place or pop you out in a different place on the snowball?
Exactly. So as it rolls, it's shooting them out in front. It's random, and then when it pops at the end, it's we have no comparison. Like, it's a mini Reign of Destruction from Gul'dan. Like, we have nothing else that RNG in the game. We have Gazlo talents that drop scrap, but that's very much based on just Gazlo scrap, and he's clearing things all the time. He's guaranteed a certain amount. But we're talking about damage here.
Okay. That's annoying. They are not talented snowballs, chat room. The Cascade specifically states untalented snowballs, but they still will slow because the base level Snowblind has a 35% slow attached to it.
And from my testing, you're basically guaranteed to get hit by one, which is a variance of damage, of course, but it means that when it ends, if you were one person in there and you're stunned for the short duration, instead of 4 people in there stunned for a greater duration, you'll be blind when you come out. So you want to relocate someone and blind someone would be the goal of a undamaged RNG cascade. But instead we have this pretty wide variance in damage on May's ability.
Okay. Well, I can understand not allowing her in competitive play. And yeah, hopefully they will do something about it. I'm sure it's on their radar.
I mean, you could still pick her. You just don't get to do Avalanche, which is
right.
what I've been
Avalanche
practicing.
is not allowed, not just May.
There's a couple other ones like ETC is not allowed to pick Crowd Surfer, I believe, because he too can exit the map in certain areas if you so choose to abuse those bugs. And you're not allowed to like ride invisible horses or be Arthas Bat form or Kerrigan Bat because it changes your silhouette when you're, a bat flying around in your mount form.
I think it's fine. I mean, I think most Blizzard games on that side of things they're like pretty tame, I think, in their like the community, how the community bans certain things out compared to say Super Smash Brothers.
I don't really know how Super Smash Bros. Does their business.
It's been a long time since I've even paid attention to it, but my understanding is it's usually Final Destination, no items, and that's like so much of the game that's just ignored.
Oh wow!
Even though it is the way I prefer to play it.
Sure. If we're gonna throw down serious mode, that's where you go. Maybe you end up. I mean, I really like the back of Star Fox thingy.
Yeah. Also, just savoring most not following current Smash Brothers. I have no idea.
Yeah. I like Star Fox a lot.
I was always a big Link guy, and then when the one no one likes, but I love it, the one on the Wii, what was that, Brawl? We played a lot of that because that was the new one when we were in college, and I got really good with Pit. My roommate, who I could never beat in Melee, could never beat me in Brawl when I played Pit, and it made me feel like a god.
Yeah, I like Sheik and Zelda. I like them both. They were both great.
Sheik's a bastard. That's why I could never beat my roommate in Melee when he played Sheik. But
that's why we have bans.
Yeah, or his Samus. His Samus was a beast. Probably still is. Aaron, if you're listening, I know you're not because you don't play Heroes of the Storm, but your Sheik and your Samus are bastards. You made a kid cry at the Brawl. One of our local stores. Real quick story. I hope everyone enjoys this because I just have to share it now. One of our local video game stores on Brawl release day had a Melee tournament, and if you like place high enough, you got a free copy of Brawl. And he was just kind of like running the table on everyone. And next competitor comes up to play him. He didn't even look to see who the competitor was. It was a little kid, and he just like completely destroyed him.
Oh no!
Yeah, it's a little kid there just trying to have fun.
Wow! Well,
just like, oh no!
I hope it empowered him into the future.
The kid.
What year was this?
Yeah,
what year was it?
I think it was 08, I think, is when Brawl came out.
Okay.
I think it was senior year of college. If anyone's curious,
he'll be okay. Yeah. 2000 kids are resistant. I think they can handle it. 90s kid though, he'd be done.
Oh, my buddy, he felt so bad about it.
Yeah, no, 90s kids, it was, are you naturally good at it or not? And you're out. Like, you take one swing on the T-ball and everyone's like, he missed, he sucks. Like, try soccer, try something else.
Yep. But anyways, yeah, that's good to see, man. I'm really excited. I see a lot of people talking about competitive heroes again. On my like Twitter feed and play, like I'm seeing a lot of conversation about it around social media, and it's not like I'm following a bunch of different people. I don't follow new people very often, so I seem to have noticed an uptick. And I think it was Tim Rizzo was reporting that Twitch numbers for Heroes is up like 24% over the past month. Don't quote me on that. I saw it like in a passing tweet. But you're just now making me think of this. So like there's some cool stuff happening with grassroots competitive heroes right now. I'm really stoked and proud of everyone involved.
Yeah, a lot of that might be, grubby, but there's also other ex-pros coming back. Mm-hmm. Heroes Heart's been teasing for so long. Grubby was teasing this week too, and I believe it's already passed, so it must have been his boot camp. He's doing like a learn to play sort of series.
Yeah, I mean, you do work with Heroes Hearth, Kyle. How much are you putting on a face right now?
I luckily don't know anything because otherwise I'd have to like be all winky and stuff. I have no idea what they're up to. I'm just the guy who does the learn to play videos, They're like, good job, you taught him macro. And I'm like, thanks. What are you up to over there? You'll see.
By the way, like, screw you, buddy. My first game back when I got back from vacation, well, snipe on freaking Blackheart's Bay and Quick Match of all things. Like, I'm just like, damn you, Kyle! I was so angry.
Yeah. The things we do for content.
You need to wield your power with responsibility. Didn't you ever watch Spider-Man? Or read Spider-Man? Or hear someone quote Spider-Man? Or see a Spider-Man gif?
My favorite one was Dreamcast Spider-Man. That was a good game.
My favorite one was the Spider-Man 2 license game, which was the first one ever with like a proper full map in New York and real swinging, like something had to be above you to attach the line, and it just blew my freaking mind.
Yeah.
By the way, the new one on PS4 is one of the best games I've ever played.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's
so good. It's so freaking good. It's amazing.
I don't know, man. That Halo looks weird.
It looks like Halo. I don't know what everyone's so freaking having their underpants and a twist over it. Like,
I don't know. My pants are a little twisted. I think it looks a bit odd.
I think it looks like Halo.
Halo
has only ever really truly been visually impressive when it was the very first one, because I still remember it being the first game I've ever seen like sun shafts through individual leaves of a tree.
Sure.
And since then, it's been okay.
There's legacy, and I appreciate they're going back to basics and, kind of ditching the wild lore they were kind of riding with there for a bit and doing something fresh and more isolated. But there's like mini map icons, and my brain's starting to be like Anthem. I haven't recovered yet, Garrett. And every time I had that feeling that it's going to be weird.
You need to play more games, man. It's just an open world Halo. Like, map icon shouldn't make you think of exclusively Anthem. Like, go play an Assassin's Creed, a Red Dead Redemption, a Grand Theft Auto, the most recent God of War, Horizon Zero Dawn. Like, the list goes on. It's a AAA open world game. They're all like this. All of them. And only one of them is bad, and its name was Anthem.
We'll see.
Anyway, hope you enjoyed a mini week sauce in the middle of your Into the Nexus, everybody. Shall we move into strategy and fight about our tier lists?
Yes, tier list time.
Let's do it.
Choose a talent.
Choose a talent.
Talent? Ah, that seems generous.
Don't reveal our plans to our foes. I mean it. Not a word.
All right, Kyle, you ready for the reveal? Because you and I did not talk to each other, and we just made lists. And we're so if you're an audio listener, we're going to post these lists as images in the blog post. You can also find this over at youtube.com/amove2 if you want to watch the entire video version uncut. But we're going to do our best to keep this audio friendly for you all. We're not going to mention every single hero at every single place that we put them, but we are going to ask each other to defend ourselves on what we think is a weird pick on the other person's list. So, Kyle, without further ado, here are our lists. Oh, wait, no, that's the title image. So on the left is mine.
Listeners, Garrett.
Yep, on the left is mine, on the right is yours, and I, pretty late into the process, realized I could remove rows, and I didn't want D and E. I just wanted to go from C to F, and I also fought with keeping the SSS, the rank that tier maker just by automatic puts in, but I was like, you know what? No, this is where I'm going to put heroes like they either better be on my team or I don't want to see them. That's what was
right. Yeah, it's an escalation, but S tier is usually the best, and tier makers decide that there is an SSS tier, so that is that much more extreme.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll lead for my extreme top tier. I have put Cassia, Diablo, Imperius, and Raynor.
All right. Well, for my extreme tier, I have put Cassia, ETC, Lost Vikings, Zeratul, Abathur, and Samuro.
Interesting. So, did you have any criteria? Was this solo queue? Was this mains only? What was your?
I tried to keep it. Personal. I tried to keep my thoughts relatively simple because I didn't want to get into I assumed you're good at the hero. If someone is good at the hero, where would I place the hero? I'm not interested in a tier list that takes into account people who are bad with certain heroes. And then I really just thought about it. I just kept asking myself the whole way down, would I like to see this hero on my team? or would I like to see this hero across from me? And the more it was yes or no on either, it kind of depended on how high they ended up going. So mine is pretty, I think, casual. I don't know. I wanted this to be the everyman tier list as much as I possibly could make it. But there's also some personal salt in here, as you can tell if you look at my F tier.
No, but even looking at your top tier, like there's some things that as a solo laner you don't want to see, like maybe ABBA, because that's always screwing with information that you have or the matchup you have. Lost Vikings, 3 in a lane is insane. Sammy players doing all sorts of random stuff that's not structured.
Yeah. Lost Vikings is very, very personal. Like, I play solo lane. I do not want to be across from a good Lost Vikings player. I just don't. They're scary. I had one very recently, by the way, which reminded me of this. It's been a long time since I faced down a Lost Vikings one trick, and I ran into one between last episode and today, and holy butts, man. It's scary. It is a scary, scary thing to deal with.
It's got a lot of power, that 3-stack now, and I think it's cool that it's an option. Did they end up going play it again or longboat?
Longboat.
Okay. Well, that's at least interesting. I'm glad, because that's the way it should be. Is if you're playing,
it was very
separately,
Chen-like. Every time I thought I had them dead, they'd pop longboat.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was just annoying. And then as I kind of led with I wish I didn't have to consider banning Zeratul and Abathur, but I think you do. I think you still need to, and so I'm still. I think you could make an argument to put them one rung lower, but that's why I put them at the tip top.
Interesting. I put Zeratul in A. I think he is a long road. The ones I see in Diamond are very much about double soaking and going for 20, and much like our Imperious discussion, you either felt that 20 or you didn't know there was a Zeratul.
I feel like I usually feel the 20.
And that could be, but we are definitely in a all games are going to 20 sort of space in casual just solo play right now.
Yeah. And so, all right, Kyle, I'd like to start off by pointing out one of your choices, and I would like you to defend it.
Okay.
Why is Diablo at the top tier for you, and you're not allowed to say because fans said so?
No, I did. I did hear that opinion. I don't know his reasoning. My reasoning is that Diablo has the 3 very rockin' builds right now. And even if he's missed draft or picked early, there's a build for you to work in that scenario. He still has the wall problems. I don't want to be on Hanamura. The early game on Battlefield of Eternity is rough. But you got Lightning Breath, full Flame Stomp build. You have your divey sort of crush 'em sacrificial soul into the devastating charge build. And you have the Life Leech, which Life Leech is the big one that is causing him to be in any sort of S tier list right now. Life Leech, healing for 4% max health and auto attack, is so much staying power and such an ability for Diablo to turn a fight around by just being focus fired, which people have done for a very long time, that I think Diablo can absolutely be in this top tier.
Okay. To me, I do think he's top tier. And frankly, usually when I think of tier lists, I don't consider there to be anything above S, but I do like, for the purposes of Heroes of the Storm, considering it and kind of playing around with that, with things that maybe need to be, basically if it's there, it's like, I think these might need nerfs is kind of my thinking for the SSS. And not that I don't think anything lower also could possibly use some down tuning, but
no, but it works with, for my list, Raynor and Cassie as well, because you have all these other options. But why would you work so hard? And Cassia does have her stutter steps, and there is nuance to it. But when Cassia's winning, that nuance is gone. And it's not like she got stacked or you fed her. She just goes. And it feels so easy to right-click the right person, to fend the person as they get away, that she beats out anybody else who might play in that field.
Yeah. Because I would keep Diablo down just a little lower just because of the just dies factor of Diablo. But I'm also working through a pretty serious bias against front line that I can't kill right now. Hello, Imperius.
Sure. And in that, I would argue that if Diablo Turbo dies, he'll come back, and you should be doing a Flame Stomp build where Soul to the Flame at level 4, Fire Stomp grants 1 soul every 3 times it damages an enemy hero. And you're guaranteed at least, 1 soul per stomp, probably more, and you're, healing for that damage as well. But that's an amazing way to get back in the fight on Diablo, and you instant res. Fair. So Diablo dying quick sometimes means a death on the enemy side. It's kind of that Malthael thing, where Malthael gets a pick even if he dies with Last Right. So Malthael's great.
All right. I agree with your decision. What causes you concern on mine?
Honestly, I think it's all, it makes a lot of sense to a Rexar player, right? When I'm looking at Sammy and Zeratul and this Lost Vikings bull, and it's not like some standard like Thrall lane coming at you.
Yeah. I almost didn't put Sammy up that high, but I was like, F it, it's my list. I can do what I want. Sammy was very personal.
But if I can complete the bottom of the sandwich for a moment, jump down.
Okay.
On our hot dog.
All right. Great callback.
You were thinking about mains here, right? Like these are skilled plays.
Yep.
So why is Probius so low?
Because there's 4 other players that need to know how to play with you.
Interesting.
I did think about that. I was thinking about that a lot, and I just don't think anyone knows how to play with Probius. Honestly, I would have just left him off the list because I've never seen him in a draft game, I think, this year.
I think I might have had one on Braxis, and he did a rockin' job in solo lane. But I've also seen Hammers take the solo lane. I love weird solo lane Braxis. The memories are so juicy.
Yeah, I think. I think if we were doing a quick match tier list, I think I'd put Probius at the very top. Because I think in a mode where everyone is out for themselves and you are left to the mercy of a spiteful god called the Matchmaker, that Probius is absolute top tier.
That's fair. Predicting what Probius is going to get up to is impossible because he's always zooming around. He sometimes participates in the fight. It goes bad for half a second even, but his setup is ruined, and he just pieces out and runs to some other lane, and you're wondering where that scrappy probe went, and he's gone.
Yeah.
I get you.
Yeah, another thought, another big thought that kept entering my mind when I was moving heroes around was how does your comp react to you? How much of a burden are you putting on your comp for draft?
I think that's why we both put Diva pretty low.
Yeah, I just don't want to see it at all. If someone locks Diva, particularly early in a draft, that's one of the rare occasions where I think about just draft dodging because I don't feel like playing that game. I mean, and that's why Stitches is also the third and final hero in F, because I just think Stitches is trash. I realize things can be done, but you are making me work so much harder when you could have picked something else that was useful.
We did fight that was it Blaze Stitches combo where their front line never died.
Blaze Stitches combo when the front line never died. That just seems so weird because those are 2 that I put relatively low because they're front line that don't cause me problems because I can just kill them.
Let's see. It was one of the games we played this week.
Really? On Monday?
Yeah, Stitches kept going. I could be wrong.
I remember a Stitches game where he died every single time we saw him. Am I do not remember anymore. Biased against Stitches that
I don't remember anymore. He seemed like he lasted a long time and caused a lot of disruption, but I feel you. When
our last game of the night was against a Stitches and we won.
Okay. What was he alongside?
He was alongside an Imperius, a Malfurion, a Li Ming, and a Malthael. And as well Volskaya Foundry.
Yeah, that was chaos.
That was a game where you were on ETC.
That's right. That highlighted the exact problem with Stitches, what he often has, as he hooked our Deckard Kai berries perfectly and gorged her to save his life by the time.
God, that game that was a perfect example of why Stitches is crap in my opinion. That was just every game I've ever had with the Stitches on my team, but I finally got to play against that Stitches.
That's fair. Where did I put Stitches then?
Let's look at the list, and Kyle
B.
put in B. That is, yeah.
Maybe a little kind.
To put him next to Ragnaros. Oh, yeah.
Well, B was really my comp dependent tier. We got things like, Chen, Illidan, Gul'dan, things that are just going to be rocking in certain areas, but probably need a lot of organization. I put Greymane in that tier, actually. And we're talking solo queue here, even a skilled Greymane. Now, of course, there's also a huge chance Greymanes are Smurfs. Mm-hmm. So things can get really weird when we talk about them. But if we're talking about a normal matchup with a normal player, he's going to get some nice camps. He's going to do some decent damage. But ultimately, Greymane is as good as his comp, as good as everyone else around him. And I feel the same way about things like Artanis and maybe Kairazim. But yeah, again, we get into Smurfage there. I absolutely agree with you on Diva, and I'm coming around to your Stitches way of life. You know who I threw under the bus, Garrett?
Who'd you throw under the bus?
Arthas. Yeah.
His stock is so down, it's a bummer.
I mean, it's tough alongside May.
Yeah. His placement in my tier of B is really just, that is an extremely personal defense of the hero. I don't have a lot to back it up with. He's not performing well. His counterpart in Nubarak is doing better. And how often are you really going against like an AA comp? Like where it's concerning, where it's enough to make you think it's time to counter draft?
Nubarak is having a hot little go right now, actually. I expect his stock to continue to rise because he is a Mal'Ganis counter.
I'm surprised my Mal'Ganis position wasn't the first thing you pulled. You went for, by the way.
Oh well, I mean it's. Where's Mal'Ganis for you?
Beginning of B.
I'm okay with that. I put Mal'Ganis up in S. I think he's amazing in Storm League, but I totally feel you where you're coming from.
This was the only thing on here that is me firing a shot at you. By the way, this is it. This is it right here. I think you overvalue Mal'Ganis.
That's fair. And anytime I play with coordinated people, I have a much higher chance of losing with Mal'Ganis. In solo queue, he's so disruptive. He's such chaos. And he dodges so much damage and business with his Carrion Swarm that I think he's just phenomenal. But there is certainly a frustration factor, and I feel it when I'm like, don't worry, everybody. I've got the back line. You're like, what about the front? I'm like, no, it's fine. You kill him. You take care of the tank job. I'll do everything else.
The worst is when they also have a backline diver, and now we have to deal with that, plus the front line that just gets to walk at us.
Right. And what am I supposed to do? Like slash 3 times and help you out eventually and maybe miss? Am I supposed to slowly sleep towards them?
Mal'Ganis really reminds me of May at her worst, where everyone just walks past the May, and you're like, what did May even do? Why was I ever afraid of this hero? Because the same thing can happen with Mal'Ganis. Well, Mal'Ganis goes off and you're like, yeah, Mal'Ganis, go. Get it. Oh, shit, the whole team is on top of me. Like,
yeah.
Like, that's kind of, there's something about that style of tanking that irks me. For some reason, May doesn't seem like as strong an offender as Mal'Ganis, but it can happen depending on the quality of your May player, or just the way your comp ended up. Like, I don't know. I'm surprised May has been doing as well as she does in so many different comps, because I look at Mal'Ganis and I look at May and I go, don't you need like a completely all-in dive comp? But
I think it's the chaos. I think
it
it's
is.
Storm
It
League
is.
chaos.
But sometimes the chaos doesn't work. Sometimes it's like you're facing down a team of Ian Malcolms that just go, I understand this, and they dive you.
Absolutely, and that is where they start to fall apart, is anytime anybody figures out your tricks, and same goes for that May. When you suddenly have to go, oh, everyone stepped outside of the blizzard, I need to actually do an icing push into it. You are desiring such absurd amounts of skills that you don't have in a casual game, that you're not able to practice every single game because you're often winning because you just win because of that chaos.
Gotcha. It's like
Zool, actually. Because when Zool's working, you are you go, hey, you, and it goes, whoa, bones. And then you run in and you go, zoo, 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 zoo. And everybody dies. And you soaked, and then everybody died, and then you go back to soaking. But there comes a time where that's not working. They're blinding you, they're CCing you, and you have to be creative with Zool. And the kit doesn't allow you to really be creative beyond that point. If you can't do your job, you can't do your job. And so I think Zool is still tier S. I still think he's great. He is oppressive on Towers of Doom, but there's a real chance that he can just do nothing.
Yeah. By the way, we probably should have lowered this. I really struggle with the concept of a tier list for Heroes of the Storm because of it being multi-map. And map-specific picks being, like, massively swaying certain heroes' effectiveness. Like, really makes me take issue with even the concept of attempting to tier distribute Heroes of the Storm heroes.
Well, that's why we're making a spam sandwich. Like, the bread is artisan. Like, we've thought about the top, the bottom is moldy and weird, but, we hand selected it. But our meat in the middle is just a mess because everything there is comp dependent and player dependent and map dependent, like Chromie. Chromie can vary greatly between like B and S.
Yeah, I was hemming and hawing on Chromie, and I was like, you know what? I love being in a game with a good Chromie. So I was just like, screw it, S. And that's like, a lot of this was just like, do I want it on my team? If they're really good with this hero. So it really just comes down to like, if you, I guess mine for the most part is like, I guess if you play which I guess I should have put Yrel way higher, but that was a little bit of just at my level, Yrel seems so horrendously ineffective.
But why would you? Like, why? Like, Yrel is amazing at breaking up organized play. So all we need is Mal'Ganis or May. We don't need a Yrel in Storm League.
Yeah.
But you look at an enemy team that's going to do, the Johanna Blaze kind of pile-on perfect thing that they practice, and Yrel jumps in there and goes, ha-ha, and hammers. That's all off the table now. Cooldowns are ruined because Yrel used a 6-second cooldown of her own. Like, that's where Yrel shines. And ruining Focus Fire, too. If nobody's Focus Firing Yrel, her heal hold doesn't work.
All right, Kyle.
All right.
Explain your Illidan being at B, because I think that's generous.
Oh, wow. Yeah, okay. So you put him down at C? I think Illidan's great at taking camps. I think he brings a stun to the table with Hunt. I think the soak that he supplies, he's very focused, and I like him for that. I know what Illidan's going to do. Like, he is going to take camps. Maybe he'll metamorph, but like, Illidan's going to Illidan. If his build is wrong, it's still Illidan. It's not like Falstad, which I did put on the same tier, but, Falstad should be higher. It's just in solo queue, I don't know if I have like a mage-minded Falstad or an auto-attack Falstad or like big guns, big money Falstad who's going to like try to gust everybody weird. He's so unpredictable, but Illidan is going to Illidan. And when I see him on my team, I'm like, it's like seeing a Lily. It might be an aggressive Lily, it might be a weird Lily, it might be a troll Lily, but it's still Lily. Still going to do Lily things.
Fair. Very, very fair. You have another one for me?
I would like to question your B placement of Genji, because he's F for me. He's bottom all by himself.
I have a very big stick in my craw over Genji as well, but every once in a while I just see one who's a god. Like, it just happens. And I guess I feel the way about him as you do about Illidan. It's like, because remember, I was thinking a lot about how much do the other 4 people need to bend the frick over backwards to make up for your very personal, unique pick. And I don't think you need to switch shit up too much with Genji. And Genji is like a constant. You kind of understand how any Genji player is going to play it, regardless of the build they go. But yeah. I don't know. I almost threw him in C. That was one that I almost moved down.
For me, Genji might be higher if it wasn't for the existence of Tracer. You don't need Genji when Tracer exists. You should just play Tracer.
Well, I agree with that. That's why I put Tracer up in S tier.
Yeah. You know, speaking of Illidan, we've got this category melee assassins, and it's not big. You know,
No.
our bruiser is, well, I guess our bruiser is only what, 4 picks larger, so not absurd.
Yeah.
I think Illidan could be made a bruiser. I think that'd be healthy.
I would love that. I absolutely would, because as much as I like to dump on him, I love Illidan's kit, but I just don't think he's worth the risk.
I mean,
at the end of the day, I think a lot of this conversation is boiling down to that. It's like, well, why would you play this when you could play this?
Yeah.
You know, this is like, it hasn't been one all show. It's like Top Gear reviewing cars, Kyle. They tend to frequently pit 2 cars against each other that are within the same segment. So it's like, well, why would you get this sports car that costs this much money when you could get a Porsche 911, the classic perfect sports car, in more or less the same price as whatever Mercedes AMG they're reviewing, or so on and so forth.
So it's like when you, I'll use my version here. It's when you're, eating healthy and you want Oreos super duper bad, like real bad. Like I've been wanting Oreos real bad, man. So you look up like, I'm craving Oreos. What should I eat instead? And it's like, maybe have a nectarine. And you're like, I don't want a nectarine. Yeah, I want Oreos.
There's no substitute for Oreos, Kyle.
There isn't.
There is no substitute for Oreos.
So
and yet in Heroes of the Storm, there is. And it's infinitely better in this analogy.
Well,
so
sort of,
in Heroes of the Storm,
telling...
you're looking at Genji going, well, Genji is nectarine and Tracer is Oreos, but we live in a world without calories.
What if Genji is the Oreos and Tracer's the healthy nectarine that you should eat? But you don't want to because you love Genji. You love Oreos.
I guess that's fair. I guess that is okay. You were taking it a different direction. I was going with, you don't need to work out extra hard because you took the hero that is easier to win with. So why not just take the hero that's easier to win with?
If we're talking workouts, that's absolutely true. Like don't work out to make up for the things you've done because you've already ruined the workout in the first place, in a sense.
Now all I want to do is debate Daniel Newman in the chat room who says Thin Mints dunk on Oreos, because my response is I never want one of those when I want the other. I want one or I want the other. I never think to myself, I can't decide if I'd rather have Oreos or Thin Mints.
What about you gotta meet me halfway. Like maybe some like Teddy Grahams.
Do chocolate Teddy Grahams. That's like that's one that if I do not put it in a small bowl, half of that bag is getting eaten.
Oh yeah, though that's one you gotta like segment to, like the crunchy Cheetos for me. Like the puffs are weird, but crunchy, weird little ones.
so bringing it back. Looking at your tier list again, Kyle. You know what? I'm going for it. Dude. Probably a weird hero to get passionate about, but you are not giving Murky the respect that Murky deserves. And I'm serious. I'm not trolling.
Kyle, you were gonna look slightly to the left of Murky. I thought Zagara.
No, Zagara's stock is so down right now. It makes me want to vomit. I'm not gonna. I think she deserves better than D. I don't even remember where I put Zagara. I put her in B. I think you could put her in C, and I wouldn't really make a fuss. But I think D is a little low for Zagara. But Murky in the right hands, I think is Where did I put Murky in A? I think Murky is A tier in the right hands. Like just the stupid turn you off stun of Octograb is such a good setup.
I feel you. My problem with Murky is that he is countered so heavily by an unconventional solo laner that if performed right, and it does happen in my league regularly enough, that Murky is canceled out. So we draft, let's say, Blaze, Artanis, maybe not something that's like, whoa, you're solo lane, but decent. My Blaze or Artanis knows they can't handle Murky, so we put Raynor in that lane. And Raynor wrecks Murky.
Okay, how do you deal with that when you want that Raynor to join the fight eventually?
That's a tall order because there you're dealing with the Raynor, like knowing he should go.
So is that a C or a B order? Is that what you're telling me?
I
mean, that's all well and good, but you eventually need to leave lane.
Right. That's where I think that's definitely where we're talking leagues too. Like knowing you're pushed out, so Murky's busy for a time, pushing out aggressively, but using the mini map to know you can go past the halfway point and get Murky pushed out. Someone taking a Merc camp that makes your lane more occupied during that time. Like
I find Murky like so. Okay, we're gonna. Sorry, everybody. We're going to the solo lane town again, and I know we do this a lot, but I think about this a lot. Is solo laner eventually you're gonna need to join up with the team, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so there's this question of like, what value do you bring and how long can you maintain that value? Murky's is, I think, quite a bit over a very short stint, which I find super interesting and I think is worth something because it's like, well, all right, you got your ults out, you got your combo out, go back to doing your solo lane. Whereas you bring your Rainer in, you want your Rainer to stay there until it's done because he's a sustained auto attacker. And he has a lot more value staying out of the solo lane than being in it countering that Murky during, say, objectives.
I think you make up for it with objectives, though, right? Like that's where
in theory,
the Rainer loses some lane presence, and Murky does get stacks of bribe, and things get weird, and we have to attend to him constantly. But we get that Alterac pass objective, which pushes all 3 lanes, and now Murky's having to push from the keep outward, and we've increased the amount of time that Rainer can excuse himself. But I feel like on paper, Murky is like fall stab with a free fly. Like I would love it if Murky came down, joined the team fight, fought as hard as he could, died, and then suddenly was back top lane doing his business. But my experience is more that Murky stays there and then takes camps because he gets a wicked high from it. And he's like, I did it, guys, I bribed. And you're like, thanks, Murky.
My experience is the Murky shows up exactly when he means to, Gandalf style, and stuns your ass to death.
It would have been a very different Lord of the Rings.
And then disappears again to go lane and get more experience value while also having secured a kill, thus actually making it difficult to win objective.
I'm feeling the trauma. I'm feeling the Sammy, the Zeratul, Rexar trauma that you have with Murky. And you're like, I can't leave this lane, guys. And they're like, do it. Where are you, Rexar? Rexar threw. He didn't leave lane. I feel you.
I think D is low, man. I know chat room's like, but cleanse. And I'm like, yeah, but you're going to have one if you have one at all. And there is a cooldown on it.
And March the Murloc is fine too. Like if they do have cleanses, it controls area. It does a lot of poison damage to squishies who often get left in the back due to tanks like me going forward.
This is part of the reason I wanted to get rid of D&E, and I did on my list because I'm like, I don't have time for these hair splittings. So
I bet you if Zagara didn't exist, then my Murky wouldn't be so low. Because when I think about the presence in the solo lane, my brain says, let's just put Vala there. Like just a determined quick match style Vala that's going to push one lane all game will get more done than Zagara or Murky doing that exact same strategy.
Yeah, I can't disagree with that.
I think there is a world where Zagara needs an update in her counterplay, which is weird. Like when you get in the lane, when let's say the game opens, you're fighting as Zagara and banelings come flying at your towers. Your counterplay is to soak the banelings with your body. That's okay, I guess.
You're still so hung up on Rainer queuing to blow up the banelings, aren't you?
I am a little bit, but you know, I'm curious about like some of these opportunities. And we just talked about Illidan too. Like, why is there a world where we can make a bruiser by not increasing his healing, but giving him metamorphosis on his trait or some way to activate that dodge and have that theming all the time?
So wait, so to get things right, you put Zagara at D, and yet you want to be able to render her more useless? Is the argument you're making right now? Your tier list says that Zagara is an ineffective hero, right, but you just said, I wish I had a better way of countering banelings than eating the damage from the banelings, which would make Zagara worse.
Give me a moment. Give me a moment. I know what I want to say. I just need, English to function.
Fair.
All right.
I've been there many times. I too am a podcaster.
So Nazebo Vile Infection is so much of his power kit that I feel like Nazebo could be a much cooler character and do a lot more if we got rid of Vile Infection. But because we're dealing with a sudden increase in the applied hero's damage, which which takes up his kit, we can't have a cooler Nazebo. So when I say let's find counterplay for Zagara, I'm talking about taking that power pie and moving it around, because there are things that characters do that are frustrating, even though the character might not be good.
Okay, there you go. All right, so this is a power pie discussion, not a.
Yeah.
I just don't want to take baneling damage anymore, while also admitting that Zagara is not doing too hot.
Yeah.
So okay, that I can totally understand and get down with. I still think it's weird if we keep banelings the way they are, where you can do like one at a time. Because then
fair.
You could just auto attack them if the Zagara isn't doing them all at once. Although one at a time would make like the Rainer Q a question of value if you space them out. So there's still control there. Yeah, we would still need to shift power somewhere else.
I mean, what if we just Junkratted it? That'd be a lot of fun.
Junkrat Zagara?
Yeah, like Zagara's like, not save one for me. What's he yell when he rip tires?
What does he? Let's go for a ride.
Let's go for a ride. Zagara's
No, that's
like,
when he gets on his damn rocket. What the hell does he say when he does his rip tire?
It's very important, and he says it loudly, and we all should target the tire. But what if Zagara instead was like, channeling, and like she made a pile of banlings that then she could control, and it rolled around
as a basic ability? I hate everything about that.
Hey, there's heroics that are. I mean, there are certainly heroics in this game that are basic abilities on other people.
I don't know, man. I miss auto attack Zagara being good, like decent.
She needs something.
I'm not sure where along the way, like my memory has actually gotten really foggy about a lot of the changes that have been made to Zagara. But yeah, I'd like her sustain to be a little better.
Well, let me pick out one on your side. So it is defensive Garrett now.
All right, my time to step up to the defense plate.
Why is Malfurion B tier?
Because I just die when Malfurion heals me. That was a bit of a personal one as well. Not at you, just in general to Malfurions.
Bad Malfurions, huh?
No, all Malfurions have the same lousy heal, in my opinion. I don't like heal over time, and Malfurions is probably my least favorite one. So you could heal over time, in my opinion, poorly with a root, or you could heal over time poorly with a polymorph, which I think is better. So I give the point to Brightwing. I actually have that in order there. I think they're both B tier. But I would rather have a Brightwing than Malfurion. I think Malfurion is a little overrated. Not as much as I think like Mal'Ganis is, and Mal'Ganis like goes beyond you. I think like it's not entirely targeted to you. Like I think a lot of folks overvalue Mal'Ganis. I think he's good by all means, but I don't think he's like the comp cementer that a lot of people seem to think that he is. And I feel the same way about Malfurion as a healer. I think Malfurion is just too passive. And you can just not get... I know you don't like people saying, like, well, just don't get hit by the roots. But, like, you can not get hit by the roots. And it's one of the easier things to not get hit by, in my opinion.
That's fair. It has start time, too.
Yeah, it has a warning.
Yeah, it could be better. It could be a better ability.
Yeah. It could also... I mean, it could be horrifying. But also see our conversation from much earlier where this is a MOBA with objectives and you will be forced into chokes. So I think B are like all things where I just go, I think they're solid. I don't think I don't tilt when I see them picked. I really feel bad about my Genji pick now where I put him. I should have put him lower. The more I think about this out loud, but yeah. Again, Malfurion is just another one of these, like, if you look at my A list and you think that hero should be higher, it probably means I thought they were overrated. B, if you think that hero should be higher, kind of the same thing. Like A and B are kind of where I put my, like, where I think they're either solid or I think they're overvalued.
All right. Before we move on, before we wrap up this beautiful tier list sandwich, is there anything on this list that we tend to dismiss? Because we talk a lot about the heroes we play. We talk about a lot of things that each other plays, and picking out that. Is there anything out there for anybody who listens to us and like, gosh, I wish they would talk about my hero for once, that we placed in here that would be fascinating or rude or wrong?
I think both of us are probably sleeping on Maev. You put Maev in B, I put Maev in A. I know both of us do not play Maev. And I feel like we probably just don't have a strong enough understanding of the hero. And then you and I didn't get into a discussion about how we clearly disagree on Blaze, but I have a feeling it would probably be you put Blaze in A, I put Blaze in C. But how many times have I said I don't like tanks that just die? And that's Blaze.
Yeah.
Blaze is the poster child for tanks that just die.
I am fascinated by him right now. I think that the adrenaline stim pack, auto attack speed, plus incinerator gauntlets is crazy. And he can get through a Knight's Camp absurdly safely. Beating out Greymane in terms of speed is what I heard. I think that he is up and coming. Crossfire deals a lot of damage. But when we think of him in the tank role, all I hear is the and then a miss and a whiff. Unless he's set up by someone else. And that's the Mal'Ganis problem again we're getting into, or the Stitches problem is a better example, where we're in Storm League, please pick a tank, and they go, I gotcha. Slam Blaze, and you go, well, thank you. Now, can we get another tank, please, to make this tank a tank? And that's too much work. But I'm fascinated on paper about what Blaze is capable of. I wish he had a better level 16 power spike. I think thermal protection's really cool. I think he kind of loses his oomph. I think having oomph at 4 with incinerator gauntlets or oil dispersal if you'd rather, but he has oomph early on. His 10s are neat. I love combustion. Now in coordinated play, I've gotten to see bunker drop juggling. Bunker juggling? It has a term where basically everyone goes jumps in and out of the bunker over and over again to maintain the armor. It's wacky.
We should just call it fire drill.
Fire drill, perfect.
It's a fire drill.
Yeah. Except for people running back. Well, there's cats, people gotta save the cats. So they're running in and out.
It's a fire drill and you have pets.
Pet store. We call it Fire Pet Store.
Fire Pet Store. We call it Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Would that have a fire in it? It's been a long time.
The very end of the movie, he was trying to escape, but there's a pet store that's on fire, and so he gets caught because he starts saving the pets from the pet store.
Perfect. Beautiful. It works.
Yep. So there you go.
Oh, and the movement speed. I'm not even talking about the movement speed for Blaze at 1. Like that, all that adds up to something really interesting and capable for Blaze. And we both put Kira pretty high, which I think is good. I think she's also a candidate for the Illidan bruiser treatment. Why isn't she already? Her health is maybe too low, but I don't want her to have more health kind of thing.
Yeah, Kira's one like that I very much like. I will admit that I'm fairly ignorant too. I don't play Kira myself, but I have a lot of experience playing alongside Kira's and against Kira's, and it's just a hero that always I feel the need to respect anytime she's in a game. So, yeah, I'm trying to think of other things. Frankly, I'm surprised you didn't put Morales higher because you always seem so hot on Morales.
Oh, I just love doing the heal bust flying around and being wacky thing.
Yeah.
Like that's.
I'm also surprised you didn't put Medivh higher because of just how good a Medivh can be if they're a good Medivh.
I think that's mostly to do with my Diablo prevalence and the amount I play him because I'm displacing him away from the portal.
Yeah.
So I have a higher chance to get away with playing versus Medivh, but he's still frustrating. I mean, he absolutely is a counter to a lot of things, particularly Kel'Thuzad, so we watch out for him in the team play. But
chat room has requested that we discuss the difference in our Deathwing placements because I put Deathwing in A and you put Deathwing in C.
Yeah. Well, who goes first then? The downer or the upper?
I was thinking that A is just fine. I think he's okay. I still think Deathwing can be disruptive. I'll admit I tried to keep map dependency out of my head, but it leaked in a little bit on this one. I think if you're on something like Dragonshire, one of these big split maps, that Deathwing can still bring a lot of value in the right hands. And again, I was assuming with every decision I made that this was like a great player on this hero. So yeah, I think Deathwing is average erring on the side of good, and it appears you think Deathwing is average erring on the side of bad.
Yeah, that's more of my opinion about half of his kit. Honestly, I'm flattered. I get cool questions like, "Wow, you did Worldbreaker all game. How'd you make that choice? When would you go Destroyer?" I don't know how to play Destroyer. First Fury Varian, I guess, like Kerrigan. Like I'm gonna be on fire and like healing myself and like being a bruiser. Deathwing to me is like the ETC powerhouse Uther combo remover. He's a counter to Chromie, so I can land on top of her and Flame Breath her because she doesn't have mobility. Like, Deathwing has his place in like those two specific scenarios, and those are Worldbreaker scenarios for me, because any other situation, I'd do somebody else. If I wanted a Destroyer form Deathwing, I'd do somebody else. I'd do Malthael.
Gotcha. Okay.
And I think that's sad. And I think it's very exciting that the developers made that choice and allowed Deathwing to have such a unique kit, because otherwise, if we were sitting on, pick your poison here, but if we were sitting on Lava Burst, Earth Shatter, and Molten Flame, he might be a little boring with how clunky he moves. There is an exciting factor that I could land in a different form. I could be doing other things that are very dragony. I love that he has fire that bursts around him. I love the lunge. I love these animations. They are very dragony. I've just got no use for them.
Fair. You still wouldn't be stoked to have a good Deathwing on a split map.
I'd rather have Pale Horse Malthael, who can ride to that lane in the 8 seconds it took Deathwing to land.
That is a hard one. I agree with that.
That's shame. That's shame.
Shame.
Real shame.
Shame gif. Just load up Hot Fuzz right now. Shame.
Yeah.
Shame. Yeah, man.
And they might get Malthael over there too.
I think you're right. Yeah. Yeah. You know who else is harder to hit with skill shots? Malthael.
Yeah. Teleporting around.
Although Deathwing brings quite a bit of armor to the party, but yeah.
He's cool. I love seeing the opportunity for him, and I get really excited, and I love my time when it's in that drafted environment.
Yeah. Well, cool. Well, I think it's a good place to stop this. I think we can wrap it up here. I think we hit all of the noteworthy differences or odd choices.
And we didn't hit the things we agreed on, like out of the gate, like Uther's now B tier, which seems bizarre after the reign of Uther was sneaking up, constantly incoming.
His healing's just not good enough, and his like unique ability to tank isn't as good as it used to be.
He is an extreme, much like Deathwing, if you need like super duper bonus cleanses because the enemy is crazy.
Which, if I have to say, man, I think that's the biggest disappointment for me so far in Heroes of the Storm this year is them coming after Uther tank. I just liked it so much. This is very personal. I would need to do a lot more thinking on whether I think it's the right call from a game design perspective. Not that I am qualified to speak on it, but like just as a personal thing, like it elicits the same feelings as like old launch Death Knights in World of Warcraft did, where I could tank in any spec I damn well pleased and really make it my own. And then eventually the WoW team was like, no, you'll tank the way we want you to, and you can only do it one way or it doesn't work. Sorry. And I'm so much less interested in that class now. And I feel very much the same way about Uther in Heroes of the Storm now.
I wonder if his right click is a problem, because we got Muradin, Stormbolt, right click in Warcraft 3, now a skill shot. I can't think of Garrosh has to skill shot to an extent anyway, his Groundbreaker as his big engage. Otherwise, he walks up to you, which Uther does in the first place, so maybe it's not that bad. Wrecking Ball is right click in a sense. But maybe he's just too easy to be a tank, if you know what I mean. They don't want to give him that power because he can just, I'm tanking.
I guess that's fair, but
and look how hard May, like, if they reduce May's power, like, this is a lot of hard work. Snow blind is harder to hit than Johanna's blind.
May I don't think is the problem though. To me, I guess I would retort. Johanna's been getting away with a lot more murder for a lot longer, I think, compared to the Uther tank. If you think Uther tank is a problem and too easy / ubiquitous, I point to Johanna and go, but
I would love to see it. I'd love to see Uther moved into tank. I think
I'd like to see Uther be the like classified as dual class with Varian. Like,
that'd
just
be cool.
Just rip the Band-Aid off and just embrace it and be like, you depend. And it's not as I almost like don't want them to redesign him, because I like that it's like a traditional hero talent system as opposed to Varian who makes a very distinct choice at 4. Like, I don't know. There's something about, I know we all got sick of it pretty quick, but there was just something about that and the way that it worked with this really old hero, a hero that's been around since the tech alpha, that I just love, man. I really liked the uniqueness of it. So there's something about it bumps me out.
Oh, I've got one Yrel level 4 gift to the Naru that when she activates Divine Purpose, it heals the nearest low by enemy or allied hero. I think that's awesome. It's up against Hand of Freedom, which is the trouble. But there's a lot of cool off-brand, off-role abilities in this game that I would love to see become more viable. And we have like main tank Zool from time to time. Thrall has done tanking, particularly versus Diablo, in plenty of organized play environments. I think Thrall's damage output, if that's what you wanted to switch him out for, is incredible to run as the main tank. And maybe the system could embrace those changes.
Yeah.
Thrall, we just spent a long time talking about, well, wouldn't it be easier just to have ETC? And we're like, well, yes, it'd be easier to have ETC, but maybe we want to run as a main tank.
I guess Uther tank is my Oreo. To go back to your analogy. Like, yeah, it'd be easier to like Johanna, but this just tastes so much better.
Right.
Wonderful. Well, I think it's a great place to end it. So we're going to, again, for the audio listeners, we're going to post this in the blog post, the actual images of the tier list that we drew up for this segment. And let us know what you think. itncast@gmail.com or tweet at us at itncast. Kyle, I think that brings us to the end of another episode of Into the Nexus.
We had a great time.
You did. We did do a great. Did you say a great in time?
I meant grand and great at the same time, so it was a great in time.
Okay, I like it. Great in time.
I didn't really enjoy it. I'm not proud of it, but it happened.
Yeah, seriously, write in itncast@gmail.com, folks. I have a feeling we're gonna have quite a bit of time to get to emails next week, unless a patch drops. And then tweet at us at itncast. If you're a patron, you can message us right in the Discord. So yeah, and thank you to our Patreon producers, Declan H, Cheese Bob, Chris K, Mike C, and Eric C. Thank you all so very, very much. I'd also like to remind you that a producer slot has opened up. So if you want to become a producer, check it out, patreon.com/ITN. And if you don't want to be a producer, but you want to support us, that's also the place to go to. We thank you very much for your support. But Kyle, before we leave, where can everyone find you?
You can find me over at kylefergusson.com, 2 S's in Fergusson. Everything I do can be found on that website. But I also encourage you to check out the new upcoming Heroes Hearth video. Might be up by the time you listen to this. All about micro. And a lot of you might not know some of the cool like camera tricks you can do, like getting the reticules, the sniper going, or increasing your mouse size. All these sort of things that we take for granted because we all want to be sweet and with talent builds and like, ooh, and taking merc camps at the right time. But sometimes you just can't control your player right. So let's go back to basics. Check it out over at youtube.com/heroeshearth.
I'm Garrett Art on Twitter. This show and every other one that I produce can be found over at amove.tv. New Hearthstone expansion came out today. It's a terrible day, seeing as it's Here's of the Storm day for me. And Joss and I aren't as flexible as we used to be. But we did just put up an episode last night with our most anticipated decks, the decks we are definitely playing on day one. Translation, I'll be playing after the Patron Bonanza tonight. I'm going to be able to playing some Heroes of the Storm. So go listen to that. There's also a rad Battlegrounds update. Kyle, have you played Mr. Bigglesworth yet in Hearthstone Battlegrounds?
Oh, he's in. I saw him at the bottom of that. You sent me a website where it like tier listed the win rates of the various
HS
heroes.
Replays Battlegrounds stats.
Yeah, and that was at the bottom, but it didn't have any abilities, so I guess it was up and coming.
Oh yeah, I think when I sent you that, I think it was like the day that. Yeah, because we were talking about Battlegrounds off air after the show last week. That was the day that Bigglesworth had released, so they hadn't added him yet or had any stats for him yet. I believe Bigglesworth ended kind of like dead middle of the pack, which makes sense once you give him a shot. But yeah, it was fun. I like the hero.
Can I ask a completely just Hearthstone question?
Yeah,
as a nub. What is the magic within and duplicate protection? Why is that exciting?
The magic within?
Yeah. My launch here is being like, unleash the magic within. Plus,
oh well, Skullman's Academy
protection.
came out today. It's the new expansion, and it's all about going to like a magic school.
And so what's duplicate protection?
That's just branding. Duplicate protect. Wait, launcher is talking about duplicate protection?
Yeah, like it's saying this is really exciting. I thought this has been in for years or something.
It has.
Should I be excited?
I'm firing up. I don't know. Maybe I should too. Why are they mentioning it?
It's bigger. The letters on it are bigger than the title of Skullman's Academy.
Where am I seeing? So you're on the launcher.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not seeing it talk about duplicate protection anywhere. You're specifically on the launcher.
Yeah. Oh, well, I'm in beta, if that matters.
I am too. I love the beta launcher. It's been up since
nice.
BlizzCon. It's really good, actually. I way prefer it to the old one, and I don't like change. I don't see that.
You don't say.
Just shut up, guy. You shut up. You just shut up.
Here, I'm sending you a picture in Discord.
We have a different.
Listen, if we did our industry spiel and you're still sitting around, you wanted to listen to this anyway, so it's great. Stick around.
Oh, unleash the magic with duplicate protection within plus duplicate. Yeah, that's been in forever. Why are they advertising that way?
I don't know. It's very exciting, apparently.
Yeah, I have a banner ad with the same art, but it doesn't mention jack about duplicate protection.
Huh.
Let's see if it mentions anything here.
Maybe they're
open them up right away. Contains at least one rare card. Surprise in every pack. It doesn't say jack about duplicate protection on the store page. But yeah,
Weird.
duplicate protection's been in there for a year now, I believe.
Maybe it has some info on me that I haven't played since. Oh, maybe that's it. I haven't played standard since my Mal'Ganis went out.
Well, no, you can't get the bundle anymore because today's launch day. I was going to say I already pre-ordered the bundle, so maybe that's why it's advertising you, but not me. But it's launch day, so the bundles are over. They're gone. Which I still think is a weird business practice. It's like at least day one, still have the bundle there. So everyone's like, oh, crap, it's launch day. Yeah, get me in. Like, I can't imagine they wouldn't make more money. But
also, this orc, I guess he's a student. He should be thumbs upping. I don't understand. He looks excited. He looks like he should be doing the thumbs up, but he's not. So it bothers me.
I believe that art, he's like holding his strap of his backpack because he's going to school. I think.
Where's his backpack?
I think it's on his back and it's just cut off. Nope, never mind. It sure looks like he should be holding a backpack strap. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I can't help you. I hope everyone enjoyed Garrett and Kyle do their best Angry Chicken impression at the end of Into the Nexus. I hope you enjoyed this.
Like when you're playing Portal 2 and she keeps whispering different things to each person. This is getting weird.
Well, folks, thank you so much for listening. Patrons, we'll see you tonight for the Patron Bonanza. Until next time, good luck and have fun.